from Beanstalk Global again. Richard, introduce yourself to a few thousand people, please.
So, Richard Bonn, co-founder of Ether Associates, long-standing fresh produce veteran, and out here in Berlin doing the rounds with various contacts and clients.
Excellent. And I always have a sort of a highlight reel in my head of some of the interviews that I've done previously, and it was really interesting, the interview that we did with yourself at the University of Northampton Summit, because it was the most watched video of that whole summit, and I think it was because of, not only because of you and your previous background, but also what you were talking about in the way of sustainability. And so tell us, why are you in Berlin? What are you looking to pick up? What are you looking to learn?
So there's a few things. So meeting up with clients and bumping into a few old contacts. I was invited out to actually go on a stage this morning. So I was on the stage with Chiquita. Chiquita were explaining the progress that they're making on some of their varietal breeding programs. I was on the stage just explaining I suppose a bit of a broader context around sustainability strategy and what we're doing at Ether. So yeah, we're a year in and just about to release a sustainability trends report 2024. So we'll be circulating that. So we've just been having a few discussions in relation to that, and we've got another business resilience test that we're just about to launch as well with clients, but also looking to launch that into the market.
Well done. And let's see if we can help you. What sort of people would you like to engage with yourselves? For you to, what's the linguistic phrase I'm looking for, Richard? For you to add value to who would you like to work with?
So I suppose the people would like to work with are business leaders who are currently sat dealing with a lot of the economic sustainability challenges that are hitting everybody at the moment, and who have sustainability maybe at the back of their mind, maybe at the front of their mind, who are thinking this is quite a complicated thing to take on, and we can help to guide business leaders through that process, and then ultimately to help businesses to define their strategy and then to deliver their strategy.
Okay, and you won't be surprised, of the half a dozen catch-ups interviews that we did this morning, this whole word of sustainability came through, but someone was very succinct about it. It's in that it's got to pay. It can't be a cost. It's got to be a benefit. And it's fascinating how you look at the whole ecosystem, especially within UK politics, with the announcements in the last 24 hours from the UK Labour Party that they're having to pull back from some of the green agenda because it's just too costly. But it's something that we all have to go down the route of. Richard, I don't need to tell you that the margin pressures are so tight within the fresh sector, but we're all being encouraged, and perhaps even more so by the end customers, to go down the sustainability route. What's your advice to people who are sitting on the fence, who are a bit concerned about it, who don't?
So I suppose there's two approaches to sustainability as we see it. There's the compliance approach, which is the age-old tell me what to do and I'll do it. So businesses will wait for customers and for government to tell them what to do, and then they'll follow that. What we're advocating is far more of a transformational approach, which is taking sustainability as a profit driver, as a USP differentiator, as actually driving change within your business and set yourself apart over the next 5 to 10 years. And ultimately, how businesses prioritize the change will still be linked to the payback, will still be linked to improving profitability. But it's just about how do you set those priorities and plan the resource and then plan the investment to deliver it. So it's very much about profitability improvement.
Yeah, well done. And I suppose that's, again, why companies need to lean on you, because they don't have that defined expertise internally. It's quite a complicated subject, up to a point to be able to send out someone within the team to go for a training course and come back in. It's not that easy. So to be able to have your intellectual horsepower, to be able to come in and give them that guidance, and not just for 1 week a month. We're talking 5 years, 10 years down the line.
Yeah, and it's the practical. So myself and Ben, my business partner, we sat on boards, we've led businesses. We understand the push and pull from an economic perspective, but the way that we want to see it is about practical change. And what we're seeing is there's a lot more coming at businesses. So from a sustainability perspective, the big thing for me is about the fact that businesses need to start looking at, yes, what they're doing to the environment, but also over the next 10 to 20 years, what's the environment going to do to them? And especially within fresh produce and food, what resilience are they building to combat climate change? And so hence the business resilience test is about how do we integrate climate change and climate change risk, transitional, so the cost of transition to net zero, into what's historically been the way in which businesses manage risk around governance, social, and strategy. So we're kind of pulling that together because it's a fairly heavy subject, and what we want to do is to try and simplify it rather than it being, I mean, I've sat through risk workshops previously, and yes, I never wanted to relive them all that often, and so what we're trying to do is to streamline that to make it less painful, but also so it could be repeated more often.
Yeah. Well done. And what are you seeing in that you're going to be associated with some of those bigger businesses? Let's sarcastically call them the big oil tankers within the sector. And they know they've got to change, but there's a lot of excitement about new businesses coming in, whether that be the likes of vertical farms. You've very kindly been on a big broadcast that we did on Glasshouse and vertical farms. And there's a lot of interest about robotics, ag tech. The smaller businesses that you're seeing, whether you're working with them or just picking them up in your periphery, have they got this message about sustainability? Have they got a head start on the oil tankers, the bigger businesses? Or again, are they slightly naive and you're having to guide them?
I mean, I think for a lot of the smaller businesses that we certainly speak to, that their offer, so they've built an offer which is appealing to the sustainability solution. So we're working with various businesses who have the answer to a lot of the problems that a lot of the big businesses will be facing into. So those are the ones that we're kind of working with. But smaller businesses are more nimble, and in theory should be able to adapt far faster than some of the bigger ones. The bigger ones, though, are recognizing that it's far harder for them to move, so they need to get onto this now and start to make the business more resilient, but more adaptable to what's going to happen over the next few years. So, for example, we're doing climate change risk assessments for one of our clients, who has a global supply chain, and looking at, well, in 20 years, given even moderate projections on climate, what does that actually mean in terms of volatile weather patterns? So the hotter, wetter, drier model, what does that actually mean to potentially orchards, potentially plantations that are being planted at the moment?
Yeah. Well done. Yeah, and we're finding out with some of our clients that their systems, they're finding that the variety of product of plant they've got isn't suitable for the system that's evolving. Say it's along the lines of LED lights, that they need to develop that the genetics of that particular plant. Richard,
Yes.
not to hold you up. Just final point from me. I've got my real bee in my bonnet about highly processed food, because to me it's just creating all the issues globally around the likes of the diabetes crisis that we've got. The Berlin, Fruit Logistica, Fruit Attraction, the IFPA in the States, they're great shows, but they could be accused perhaps of being very insular, that we're just sort of selling to ourselves. How can we get this message out to the consumer, and especially leaning on the sustainability element, as to the benefits of consuming more fresh produce than Pop-Tarts or other highly processed foods are available? What would your thoughts be, especially with your industry background? How can we conquer this rise of highly processed foods and get people to eat more fresh produce? Oh, it's a big one. But see what you think.
That is a big one, and I think it's really difficult to compete with businesses who are making high margins and can afford the marketing funding to advertise, to do TV adverts. You're not seeing too many TV adverts for fresh fruit or veg. So it needs to be done, I think, a lot of the time through education. And whether that's through schools, whether that's Open Farm Sunday, whether that's just engaging with people on how they can affect their diet, and obviously there's various things going on around what government intervention needs to happen on high processed foods, which will pan out over the next couple of years.
Yeah, fingers crossed, and that's why we need people like you to advise companies, whether they be the oil tankers or the newborns within the
Yes.
sector, to give them that advice on sustainability. And Richard, just to wrap up, we're asking everyone this that we're interviewing. How many steps did you do yesterday at FRUIT LOGISTICA in Berlin? You got to beat the record of 30,000 steps by one of our other folk that we talked to earlier. What did you do yesterday?
No, I wasn't that much. I was probably in the high teens to 20,000. So obviously, yeah, I was using too much public transport.
Excellent, Richard. Well done, and have a look at the post to see Richard's business website. It's a fascinating business, and again, because of Richard and the team there, because they've been in business before, they get it. And because of this analogy I was using of dealing with the oil tankers and the smaller business, if you need, well, that's sort of defined advice on that whole sustainability element and the carbon cap. Just have a look at Richard's website and get in contact with them direct. Richard, thank you very much.
Happy to just have a chat.